In the small fishing village of Akwete, between the winding rivers and dense forests of the Niger Delta, there lived a beautiful young woman named Chinaza. She was known throughout the village for her striking features, her long, flowing black hair, and her captivating smile. But what made Chinaza truly remarkable was her uncanny ability to catch the freshest and most abundant fish in the river, which she would then sell at the village market. Every morning, Chinaza would rise before the sun, her wooden canoe gliding effortlessly across the calm waters of the river. She would return with her canoe laden with big fishes which she would arrange artfully on her stall at the market. The villagers would marvel at her bounty, and her fish would always sell unlike other fishermen, but there was something strange about Chinaza, something that the villagers couldn't quite put their finger on. She seemed ethereal. Some said they had seen her walking on the water, her feet barely touching the surface. Others claimed to have seen her talking to the fish, but whenever anyone asked her about these strange occurrences, Chinaza would simply laugh and change the subject. One young man, named Enkay, he had recently moved to Akwete from a neighboring village, and was immediately struck by Chinaza's beauty and kindness. He would often visit her stall at the market, just to catch a glimpse of her smile. As time went on, Enkay found himself falling deeply in love with Chinaza, but he was afraid to express his feelings to her. One day, Enkay decided to take a chance and approach Chinaza as she was packing up her stall at the end of the market day. He helped her carry her canoe to the river, and as they walked, he found himself pouring out his heart to her. To his surprise, Chinaza listened intently, her eyes sparkling with amusement and affection. As the sun began to set, Chinaza turned to Enkay and smiled. "I have been waiting for you," she said, her voice barely above a whisper. "I have been waiting for someone to see beyond the veil." Enkay was taken aback, but he fear-filled excitement. "What truth?" he asked, his voice trembling with anticipation. Chinaza's smile grew wider, and she reached out to take Enkay's hand. "Come," she said. "Let me show you." As they walked along the riverbank, Chinaza led Enkay to a small, secluded cove, surrounded by tall trees and overhanging vines. In the center of the cove was a small, glowing pool of water, which seemed to pulse with a soft, blue light. Chinaza turned to Enkay, her eyes shining with a mischievous glint. "This is my home," she said, "but it is also where I am trapped. Bound to this world by a curse that has been cast upon me." Enkay's mind was reeling, but he felt a sense of wonder and awe. "What curse?" he asked, his voice barely above a whisper. Chinaza's smile grew sad, and she reached out to touch Enkay's face. "I was once a mortal woman, living in this village many years ago," she said. "I was a fisherman, just like the others. But I was also a priestess, dedicated to the worship of the river goddess. I was loved by the goddess, and she granted me the power to communicate with the fish, to call them to me whenever I needed them, but there was a price to pay for this power." Chinaza continued. "The goddess demanded that I remain chaste, that I never give my heart to a mortal man. But I was young and foolish, and I fell in love with a fisherman from a neighboring village. We were happy together, but our love was forbidden. The goddess was angry, and she cursed me, trapping me between the world of the living and the world of the dead." Enkay's eyes were wide with amazement, but he felt a sense of compassion and understanding. "You are a ghost," he said, his voice barely above a whisper. Chinaza nodded. "I am a ghost," she said, "but I am also a woman, with a heart and a soul, and I have been waiting for someone to love me, to see beyond the curse and to understand the truth about me." Enkay reached out to take Chinaza's hand, and he felt a strange sensation, as if he was being pulled into a different world. Chinaza smiled. The air grew cooler, and the trees seemed to lean in, as if they were listening to their conversation. "I have been trapped here for so long," Chinaza said, her voice barely above a whisper, "but I have been waiting for someone to set me free, someone who can see beyond the veil and understand the truth about me." Enkay's heart was pounding in his chest. "I want to help you," he said, his voice shaking with emotion. "I want to set you free." She leaned in close to Enkay. "I know you can," she whispered. "I know you're the one." As they stood there, wrapped in each other's arms, and then, in an instant, everything was silent. The world was still, and Chinaza was gone. Ikenna was left standing alone in the cove, wondering if it had all been a dream, but as he looked down at his hand, he saw that it was still holding Chinaza's hand.